Okay. Good evening, everybody. Focus, let me know when we're ready, please. Good? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Welcome. Tonight is Monday, November 25th. Time is 5:02 p.m. We have a special meeting of the City Council to consider some financial orders in the tax rate this evening. We're going to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you please start by calling the roll?
Councillor Walsh.
Present.
Present. Councillor Allen.
Present.
Present. Councillor Delgado. Absent. Councillor Click-Bruce. Absent. Councillor Govan.
Present.
Present. Councillor Brown.
Present.
Present. Councillor Davila. No, he's here somewhere. Away. Councillor Curran.
Present.
Present. Councillor Santinello. Absent. Councillor Edwards. Absent. Councillor Whitfield.
Present.
Present. Councillor Perez.
Present.
Present. Councillor Fenton.
Present. Will the clerk please recognize the counselor in seat number 4?
Councillor Click-Bruce. Present.
Okay. Nobody else that's joined so far that I'm missing? Doesn't look like it. Okay. Will the council and our guests please rise for a moment of silence? Would you mind put your microphone on and say that, Councilor, please?
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to do this in remembrance of Samuel Bass. He's a great member of our community, did a lot for our city.
Okay, tonight's moment of silence, sponsored by Councilor Click-Bruce, will be offered in honor of Mr. Bass. Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, will you please recognize the counselor in seat number 7?
Councillor Davila.
Present.
Present.
Okay. Councilor Allen, do you have a point of order before we call the first item? Your microphone, please, Councilor.
I'm just wondering how many people we have present to vote at the council, of the council.
Currently, there are 6 members present in person, and there are 4 members present remotely, so that would be 10 members present.
Okay, so some of our items will require 7 and some will require 9, I believe.
Some votes will require 9, yes, that's true.
But we have 10, okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Madam Clerk, please call the first item.
The first item is a transfer from the stabilization reserves to Abbey Brook Culvert Failure Deficit Fund.
Okay. Ms. Bono, this will require 9 votes of the council to pass this order.
Good evening, councilors. This is just back in April or May, we moved FY23 free cash into the stabilization to cover the cost of the Abbey Brook deficit. We did receive funding from FEMA, and this is the balance that we have to fund for the deficit. It's required by DOR that we fund this deficit before we set the tax rate. So you've moved the money into stabilization from the free cash, so I'm just asking you to move it out of the stabilization into the deficit fund.
Thank you, Ms. Bono. Any comments or questions from the council? Councilor Allen.
Yeah, CAFO Bono, how much is the amount? It's not on our sheet.
Oh, I'm sorry. It is 4,022,000. I can't find it.
That's close enough.
4,022,000.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Will the clerk please recognize the councilor in seat number 10?
Councillor Edwards. Present.
Any other councilors have any questions or comments on this order?
I have my hand raised.
Oh, Councilor Whitfield.
It was the same question on the amount, but Kathy, can you please give the full amount?
It's $4,022,550.97.
Also, was that the full amount we transferred, or is it more or less?
It is less than what you actually transferred. We received funding from FEMA to cover the balance. Some of it, oh, sorry. I keep forgetting to turn that back on.
We received some funding from FEMA, so we're transferring less out of the stabilization fund than we transferred in?
Correct.
Okay, how much, okay, that makes sense. Your hair looks good. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Whitfield. Will the clerk please recognize the counselor in seat number 3?
Counselor Delgado? Counselor Delgado?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Right, President.
Thank you. Nine votes are required.
On approval of the transfer, Counselor Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello? Absent. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes,
Yes, Counselor Perez?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes, more than sufficient. Order passes. Item number 2, Madam Clerk.
Item 2 is an order accepting local option provision for aiding the elderly and disabled tax exemption and establishing an elderly and disabled taxation fund.
Okay, is there someone here to speak on this matter? Ms. Bono, microphone, please.
Good evening again. This is, and I'm sure you've heard, and the mayor released a press release on the targeted tax relief program that the city's setting up. This order is to set up the targeted tax relief program. It is to establish the taxation fund. There will be deposits for donations accepted to fund this taxation fund, and it will establish a taxation aid committee who's going to set up the criteria on who's eligible. And what we're there, the committee will be setting up a criteria that will hit residents who don't qualify for the other programs. And we've heard from the council during the budget hearings that there are people that don't qualify for the other programs. They're just over by $50 or $60 or $70. So we're hoping that this tax program will hit those individuals. And the 5-member taxation committee will be set up to do that. The 5 members are the Board of Assessors, Patrick, the treasurer, and then 3 residents. And the mayor has already said that he is going to ask the council president or his designee to be one of those residents on the committee so that the council can have a say in the criteria set up. So this order just sets up the fund.
Okay. Any councilors, comments or questions? Councilor Govan.
I'm not sure that this is, because this is just to set up the fund, but in preparation to have this fund and this program set up, was there any research done as to how much money would be able to be donated from the various people, or?
I mean, we can take as much money as we're willing to get. We're working with Councilor Davila on the pilot program. We can also include letters in all the real estate and I think in the excise tax, if I'm correct, bills, to ask people if they want to donate. We are going to reach out, and we would like the council's help to reach out to businesses if they want to donate to the fund. And as you know, later on, we're going to see a transfer that the mayor is going to go for home rule legislation, so he can at least put $1 million to start it. I think you saw in the paper that he'd be more than willing later on to put more in if necessary. But this is step 1 to get this going so that we can try to hit those residents who don't qualify but still need help.
Right, yeah, and I'm really excited about it, but I'm just real hesitant as to how, you know, how much people are going to be willing to donate, or, you know what I mean? I'm glad that the mayor is putting in the initial $1 million. And again, this is for next year, not this year.
Correct. We have to get the, it set up, and then we have to
Right.
get the home rule legislation to allow us to put city funds into it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Any other counselors? Counselor Walsh?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Has this been successful in other communities, and how much does the fund usually end up having?
The home rule legislation has been done before in another community, so we're not recreating the wheel there. I don't actually have that number. I don't know if Patrick's on, if he knows any.
So this is Patrick from the assessors, and we did research other communities that have it. We would certainly be one of the larger communities. So it's a little hard to sort of gauge our success level to Councilor Govan's point about donations. So that's why we thought it was pretty important to at least seed it on year one with some seed money.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Walsh. Counselor Brown?
Thank you, Mr. President. Individual specifically allocated to some entities for donations? Is there a department or an individual you guys are having do it?
I didn't quite hear the question exactly, but I think it may have been related to so it's a donation fund. So the fund would be administered through the city. And then the statute declares who is on the committee.
Yeah.
Which is here are the Board of Assessors, the city treasurer, and then 3 residents. That committee then determines the criteria for someone who is low income, disabled, or low income and elderly. So all of those terms will have to be defined by this committee.
Yes, and I understand the committee portion, but the actual, is there an individual who's going to now lobby for funds? Who's lobbying for the fund?
I see. So there's two components. One is the city can put on a tax bill a donation sort of box, just like the Good Neighbor Fund for the electric company. The city can also solicit donations via any other sort of letter or include it in their excise tax bills. We can do that. We can also just solicit donations through Councilor Davila's pilot committee. That could certainly be part of the request and the ask of them.
Well, because I come from somewhat of a background. I have somewhat of a background of things like that. It always seems kind of wouldn't it seem kind of smart to maybe allocate maybe a 25,000 aside and have an individual actually going out and doing the work? Could you guys do something like that, like part-time or something? Do you guys have someone who can actually, because if you have someone out there lobbying the different banks and the different people, it could work. It could really take off, especially if you have someone and then you give them something and you run it right.
Yeah, I think we could definitely look into something like that, working with the finance department.
Yeah, because and the only reason why I say it, just do it and not have someone in place to get the funding is still kind of, you're not putting a life force in there. I'm sure there's a lot of sharp people out there who have different marketing backgrounds and things who can get out there and lobby and get some funding and donations. So I would just, put that in your ear as far as making sure, you don't forget that component, an actual individual who can actually now, now get more money in there. Just getting $1 million from the mayor and putting it there is fine. But if you took some of that money and just a little bit and now put someone in place where now they can actually get money in there, I think would also be beneficial. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Brown. Counselor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I missed some of the stipulations for the account. Once it's in place and the seniors want to apply, is there an income restriction or location or anything like that?
Good question. So that criteria will all be determined by the committee. So that
Okay.
is their role, is to sort of create the parameters. The only thing that's in the statute says it must be used to defray the real estate taxes for someone who is low income and disabled or low income and elderly. But the statute does not define what those mean. So that
Okay.
will be that committee.
Okay, thank you, Patrick. I think it's a good start. You know, nothing's gonna come out the bat perfect. And at least we're putting efforts to do something to minimize what our seniors population has to pay. I would love to see something like this also for non-seniors, but fall into a low income bracket that may need additional help with property taxes, especially like you bought your property when rates were low. And now as they have skyrocketed and you see your mortgage increasing, as I do, it's probably every homeowner almost sees, it would be a great help to see something like that for them as well. I think that we can get creative. There's a lot of fundraising ideas to get money into that account. And Patrick, can we fundraise to put money into that account? Is that legal?
Yes, we could certainly accept any donations.
Donation. So
Into
it has
that.
to be set up like a donation.
Right.
Okay,
I think you asked me kind of about grants, which I still don't necessarily know the answer to that at this moment.
okay. All right, well, thank you for that information, and I look forward to this account being successfully set up with the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Any other councilors? Councilor Davila?
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I would say that I'm happy to join the mayor, yourself, Councilor Allen, in moving this forward. As we all know, that we have heard very clearly that people are demanding, they're begging for tax relief. And I think that this initiative being put forward, it's another tool in the toolbox so that we can deliver in that tax relief. I know myself and many others in the pilot committee are working pretty hard into figuring out how we can get more payments in lieu of taxes and other revenue measures that may or may not come into the city. What I do like about this particular initiative, Mr. President, is that it expands the pool as to where we can go fishing, in so many words. That it expands the pool to potentially the residents themselves. Because I'm sure there's people out there who would be more than happy to throw a couple of bucks into this fund to help their fellow residents who may be having trouble with the property tax. Kind of reminds me of the Good Neighborhood Fund that used to exist a long time, a while back. So I think this is a good step. I will be voting in favor of it. And I want to reassure everybody, all the residents, we hear you, and we're working pretty hard. We have a lot of balls up in the air, and this is a great start into ensuring that particularly the elderly and the low income are properly looked after and are properly encouraged to stay here in the city. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Any other councilors? Councilor Click Bruce.
All right, thank you, Council President. Just a quick question, Kathy. Does the committee, once they set the parameters or how they're going to disperse the funding, does it have to come back to the City Council for a vote?
It does not.
Okay.
So, whatever the criteria is that the committee creates, it would exclusively go through them.
Got you. Okay, so, all right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Click Bruce. Any other councilors? Okay, seeing none. Kathy, I think we have 3 votes to take on this, right? Numbers 2, 3, and 4 are all a part of the same item, but we have to vote these separately because they have different voting thresholds and they are different matters. So, Madam Clerk, if you could please call the roll on item number 2.
On item number 2, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado. Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello absent. Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more insufficient. Special act is adopted. Okay, so this second vote, counselors, is to, well, the first vote is to accept the local provision under 60 Section 3D, and then the next vote for item 3 is to accept the special act requesting that the city be allowed to contribute to it. And then the third vote will be actually putting the money in. So are there any questions about the second step in this three-step process? Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On approval of the item, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado. Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello absent. Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more insufficient. Special act is adopted. Item number 4, Madam Clerk.
Item number 4 is a transfer from FY24 certified free cash to the stabilization fund.
Okay,
for the-
Counsel. Oh, sorry.
Go
Madam
ahead.
Clerk. Counselors, this is to put the $1 million into the account. Any comments or questions on this order? Okay,
I'm sorry, $1 million, oh, into the senior account, Mr. President?
The targeted tax relief account, yes, the one that we just created.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
I had a question.
Oh, okay, Councilor.
Thank you, Mr. President. So is the money is going in now? You're not waiting to see if the home rule petition passes?
We're putting it into stabilization.
Oh, okay.
And then I will come back as soon as if it passes, I'll come back.
All right, thanks.
We want to put the funds aside so that the stage is showing that we have the funds for funds.
Does this have a sponsor in the House?
This is sponsored by, oh, I didn't put that on, sorry.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that.
Hope so.
I mean, we will reach out once we've set these, we are going to reach out to the delegation. And as I said before, we would hope that the council would also help us get this through. The sooner we can get it through, we can get it set up, we can be ready for the FY26.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Walsh. Seeing no other councilors, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on item number 4.
On approval of the transfer, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado. Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello absent. Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more insufficient. Order is approved. Okay, item number 5, Madam Clerk.
Item number 5 is a stabilization transfer for tax levy with Treasury bills interest.
Councilor Allen.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. So, just a couple comments. I thought there would be a committee meeting report tonight, and there wasn't one, so I just want to mention a couple things that happened along this process. So we're right in the thick of it now. We're right getting to the things we talked about. So I just want to thank some people who were pretty critical to this. This process is tough every year. Everybody wants their taxes to be lower. Everybody wants the budget to be lower. We well want the services that we have. So we try to find the best balance we can on all these things. And I just want to thank the people that were critical to this process. There was a tax rate committee, which included Diana Zinel from the Chamber of Commerce, Mark Howard, an economist from Springfield College, Patrick Greenhall, the chairman of the Board of Assessors, and several citizens, Wilfredo Lopez and Jay Latore, who spoke earlier, and Ruth Ann Hamilton Stutz and Regina Tillery, who were part of the process. I also want to thank the finance team, Kathy Bono, who's been certainly talking tonight, reporting on some of the questions, Patrick Greenhall, Lindsay Hackett, Pat Burns, Steve Lonergan. They attend all these meetings, and it's a difficult process because we have a tough job to do. And members of the city council, almost everybody attended one of these meetings. This is the third or fourth meeting now, but certainly Councilor Fenton, Walsh, Whitfield, Click Bruce, Melvin Edwards, Davila, Sean Curran, and Zeta Govan. At least all of you, and if I missed a couple of other people, if you were at, it's a mistake of the mind and not of the heart.
You missed me, I was on the first one.
You're on the, all right, there you go, Jose Delgado as well. It takes a lot of people coming together to do this. There's always some tension about it because nobody wants, any tax increase. But I just want to thank you for all the people that were there to help along the way. We still got a couple of votes to go, and I hope they go favorably, but I just wanted to thank everybody for coming to the table and doing your best to get us straight on our tax rate and to think about what we need to do to improve it next year. We'll have some time to talk about that. But that's it, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Okay, Madam Clerk has called item number 5, which is a stabilization transfer to the tax levy for the interest yielded from T-bills. Ms. Bono, do you want to address that? Put your microphone on, please. Thank you.
So these are investment funds from the Treasury bills that the interest is using to help offset the tax bills. It's $2 million, and I believe we've used it the last 2 years. So this is just a transfer to use it for the tax.
Okay, rates are going down, so we probably won't have that much next year, but that's a different question.
I didn't want to say that.
Councilors, any comments or questions on this transfer? Councilor Allen.
Did you just say tax interest is going down, so
Yes.
it won't be as much
Right.
probably next year? So, well, it's a good idea from you anyway when you started. It came from you originally, and we've had 2 years of great returns, right?
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Any other councilors? Okay, seeing none, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On approval of the transfer, Councilor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Govan.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Santinello, absent. Councilor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Whitfield.
Yes.
Yes, Councilor Perez.
yes,
Yes, Councilor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Order is approved. Item number 6, Madam Clerk.
Item 6 is a transfer for FY24 certified free cash to FY25 estimated revenues in the amount of $3 million.
Ms. Bono.
As of right now, we have $3 million to offset the tax bills, and the mayor has authorized another $3 million out of free cash to lower the average tax bill to only a $177 increase, which brings the total of $6 million to offset the tax rate this year.
Thank you, Ms. Bono. Mr. Allen, Councilor Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. Just want to mention that the Tax Rate Committee did something they've never done before, besides agree to a tax rate, which is the last item here. They made a motion, Mark Howard made a motion to add $2 million, ask the mayor for $2 million. And it was an unorthodox motion. It had never been done before, but I figured why not go forward with it? It's the people were speaking, and it passed, I believe, with almost every vote. And so we knew that the committee that was setting the rate also wanted to ask the mayor for an extra $2 million to put on the taxes. I talked to Kathy Bono and to Patrick, and we were able to ask the mayor for $3 million, and lo and behold, we got $3 million. So that's the original 3 and the 3 we asked for here. got us to 6. So appreciate the Tax Rate Committee making that motion, and everybody, hopefully you'll support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Allen. Any other counselors? Counselor Govan?
Can't hear you.
Because somebody else had their mics on. Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to make a point that I did anticipate that we would be able to do more than what we've done, right? $6 million is good, as a tax relief, but as we saw, the property taxes are still going to increase. And as we heard from the residents today, the residents last Monday, they're tired of the increases. And not only are they tired of them, they can't afford it. A lot of them can't afford it, not just in my ward, but in all the wards across the city. So I actually was asking, the way I always see it is if you go in asking for more, you might get, don't start low and go high. You got to go high and then go low. So I'm hoping that, this will just be a lesson to us when budget season comes along and when we have an opportunity to really make an impact for our residents, that we do that at that time. So thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Counselor Govan. Counselor Walsh?
Oh, no, wait, I got to turn mine off.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think I wanted to ask the assessor with the additional $3 million from the mayor. Does that reflect the chart that he's done, or is his chart different? Or
Yes, so this is Patrick. You should have received a chart on your chair and one that was emailed late last week. So the one that was on your desk today, this does represent the levy with the $6 million decrease.
okay, and how much does that help the residents?
So the original with the 3 million, the average tax bill was going to go up $221. The average single family tax bill will go up $177.
Thank you, and thanks for all your work you've done on this. I'd like to say, Mr. President, that our assessor is so available to our constituents that have issues, which I think is helpful. So I want to thank him for that.
Thank you, Counselor Walsh. Any other counselors? Counselor Whitfield.
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a couple comments. First, I want to thank Patrick. I really, really appreciate your presentation this year. We always give you feedback and you never fail. You deliver the feedback that we give you. I think it was very understandable the way that you presented it this year. And I think you did an outstanding job with the presentation, Patrick. I also appreciate how you came out with me last year and we presented the circuit breaker credit along with Councilor Govan. And I hope that we could do that again this year because it was so beneficial. I don't know how many of the seniors that attended said that they appreciated it so much. And you talked about the other relief that is out there for taxpayers. So I want to say thank you for that. I also want to thank Councilor Allen because I was upset at one of the finance meetings or a report out of committee when there was no Black person on the committee and there was only one woman and no woman of color. And he really took my feelings into consideration and added Miss Ruth Ann Hamilton Stutz back to the committee and added Regina Tillery to the committee also based on that feedback. And I think that's a great way for us to work together, show unity, equity, and inclusion. So thank you, Councilor Allen, for hearing me. A lot of times we speak and we're not heard, but you heard me, and I really appreciate your efforts. I also wanted to say that I agree with Councilor Govan when she said that we should ask for more in the hopes of getting more. And I think Councilor Allen did do that because the subcommittee or the group, they voted on 2 million, so he had to ask for more to get to 3 million. I don't know how much more, but I agree with you when you say there's people out there that can't afford $1. And I made it my personal vow that I will not vote for a budget that increased the tax bills, and it's not going to change today. And it's not because of no one efforts here. I think all of you did a great, wonderful, amazing job. But in my spirit and my conscience, I can't do that to the taxpayer. And Patrick, I don't know, Mr. President, if I could ask Patrick a question?
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you. We did do the maximum decrease in the tax factor that we could do. Is that correct?
That's the proposal that's in front of you tonight. So the recommendation from the mayor is to go to the max shift. Now that's 1.75. For point of reference, for fiscal 24, we were 1.735. So we're relatively close to that max shift. But this would sort of shift the most that we can onto commercial, giving the residents sort of the most reduction possible.
And I thank Mayor Sarno also for his actions, given the relief, the $6 million relief. It could have been 1 million. It could have been the 2 million that we got out of the investment fund, but it is 6 million. So I definitely commend everyone on their efforts and the hard work. So please don't take my vote personally. It's just my commitment that I made to myself and my constituents. But thank you, everybody, for all the hard work.
Thank you, Councilor Whitfield. Any other councilors? Councilor Allen.
Thank you. I'd just like to thank Councilor Whitfield for her kind words and her great perspective on the whole thing. She's been pretty involved in this for years, and it means a lot to have her say the things she did. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Allen. Any other councilors? Okay, this vote is on transferring the $3 million from free cash to the levy. Seeing no other councilors, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
On approval of the transfer, Counselor Walsh?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Brown?
Yeah.
Yes, Counselor Davila?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello absent. Counselor Edwards?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield?
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Perez?
yes,
Yes, Counselor Fenton?
Yes, more than sufficient. Transfer is approved. Okay, Madam Clerk, last item, number 7.
The last item is the tax factor for FY '25.
Okay, Chairman Allen.
Thanks, Mr. President. I would like to recommend to the City Council that we implement a tax factor of 0.7.
Okay, Councilor Allen's mic cut out at that moment, but he said point.
It's the one on the bottom of everybody's sheet, 0.779096.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Okay, motion seconded by Councilor Walsh. Any discussion on the motion to adopt the tax factor as recommended? Okay, seeing none. Any, Councilor Davila.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you for, first of all, Councilor Allen for the outstanding work you've done in the Finance Committee to get all this through. I just have a quick question because I just don't think we should just pass it and at least for the viewers at home to understand what we're about to do. So we're about to set the tax factor. And Kathy, if I may, I just have a quick question for you. Madam Kafa?
Ms. Bono, could you please
Yes,
come up?
yes.
I
Thank
thought I
you,
was
Kathy.
done.
It's good to see you.
It was Patrick.
That's
yeah.
okay, Kathy. I just have some quick clarifying questions. So mainly for the people at home that are watching, that you understand what we're doing. So Councilor Allen just made a motion which essentially suggesting the mayor's recommendation tax factor, which is 0.79096. Now, that's going to decrease the average residential by 38 cents, correct?
Councilor, this is Patrick. I'll field these.
Go ahead,
question.
Patrick, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, so the current, for fiscal '24, the residential rate was $16.06. This recommended factor would bring that 38 cents, a decrease of 38 cents to $15.68.
Right, so in comparison to last year, it's 38-cent decreased.
Correct.
Great, so, and the reason people are going to see a higher bill, most likely of 177, is twofold. One, the property value is increasing, and then the levy limit, which is new growth plus the 2.5, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, similarly, for the business, they're going to have a decrease of 19 cents, correct?
Under this proposed, yes, under the,
Yeah, and that's
recommend-
going to basically balance the tax levy so that we can have a balanced budget, correct?
yes.
Okay, so thank you, Patrick. Thank you, Kathy. Mr. President, I think it was important that we clarify that for the people at home. This is a very complicated matter, very complicated subject. But it is our duty to ensure that we have the funds to balance the budget. Everybody expects to, rightfully so, they expect to have services. They expect to have good quality services. And so I think this is a good compromise. I thank the mayor for putting up $6 million into this. And we're going to continue. We're going to continue the work because we got to figure this out. We got to get this right. So those are my words. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilor Davila. Any other councilors? Councilor Govan?
Thank you, Mr. President. And I'm going to join my colleague, Councilor Whitfield, in not voting to increase the property taxes for our residents, but I do want to thank the council for the work that they've done. I know Councilor Allen has been diligent in trying to get all the information that we need. Patrick, Councilor Whitfield is right. He has been receptive. Anytime a constituent calls me, I can send him the phone call and he'll return the call and he'll answer the questions. But the answers, I think, are not enough for what the residents are clamoring for, right? I think Freddie said it, in his speech that, it's by coincidence that because the property values have increased, the budget increased. And the cost of services didn't increase because property values increased, right? We're still doing the same services because people are still living in the same places. It just so happens that the values are higher. So because of that, I just want to let everyone know that I do appreciate the work that the city does. I appreciate the work that the mayor did in giving $60 million in tax relief. However, it's not enough for me and for my constituents. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Councilor Govan. Any other councilors? Okay. There's a motion properly made and seconded on the floor. Seeing no other councilors, Madam Clerk, please call the roll on adopting the recommended tax factor 0.779096.
On adopting the tax factor, Counselor Walsh.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Allen.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Delgado.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Click Bruce.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Govan.
No.
No, Counselor Brown.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Davila.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Curran.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Santinello, absent. Counselor Edwards.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Whitfield.
No.
No, Counselor Perez.
Yes.
Yes, Counselor Fenton.
Yes, more than sufficient. Tax factor is adopted. That will conclude our meeting this evening. Any more business, Madam Clerk?
There's not.
Okay, councilors, we will stand adjourned. Reminder that we have a hearings meeting scheduled at 7 o'clock tonight. We'll re-adjourn at 7 p.m. Thank you and good night.